The veterinary industry is facing a shortage of new doctors and technicians, how a program at Blinn College is helping the issue. And we're coming up on the anniversary of the Texas freeze. Will our power be in danger if the temperature drops again? Your Krhd News starts right now.
Connecting the Brazos Valley, this is KRHD News.
Happy Friday and thanks for joining us. I'm Hallie Jones. The demand for veterinarians is overwhelming the industry. Meanwhile, the turnover for students entering the workforce is falling short. A blended program at Blinn has set out to help students advance their careers. KRHD News reporter Brittany DeFran explains how one student is benefiting from the new opportunity.
According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, vet tech jobs are expected to grow by 15% over the next 10 years. That could make the shortage worse, as there are not enough graduates to fill the jobs that already exist.
We are seeing a large amount of shortages in veterinary technicians, assistants, and vets, so throughout the whole board, it's across it. So we're hoping that this program will give insight, and as we have students go through the program, that they tell other people about the program.
Blinn College hopes its blended veterinary and technology program can help. While labs must be completed on campus, courses are completed online. That gives students like Katrina Seba, who work full-time jobs, more flexibility.
I can't stop working to go back to school fully, but I do really want to pursue being licensed and have that associate's, and so it gives me the ability to work and then come home at the end of the day and study, or leave work at the end of the day and go to lab and be able to get all of those things accomplished without having to put the rest of my life on hold.
Blinn has partnered with Texas A&M so students get hands-on experience.
When we send our students to A&M, that is a real-life hospital. It is going on as a hospital right now. So they can see clients walking in and out. They can see emergencies come in. They see everything right there on the spot and see how it is in the real world.
If you are interested, the deadline to apply has been extended until February 28th and classes begin in May. In Bryan, Brittany DeFran, KRHD News.
Blinn's blended veterinary technician program is the only community college program in the state that holds this partnership with Texas A&M University. This lets Blinn students use the same resources as A&M students. A&M's College of Veterinary Medicine has previously ranked highly for universities, not just in the U.S., but worldwide. Both programs boast a high pass rate for the veterinarian technician national board exam, an important requirement for technicians to get their license to practice. College Station police are looking for a person who robbed a shopper at knife point Thursday morning in the Walmart parking lot of Brothers Boulevard and Longmire Drive. Police say the incident occurred around 10:15 a.m. and the victim suffered a minor injury. The suspect was seen running from the area following the robbery. If you have any information, contact CSPD at 979-764-3600. College Station police are also searching for a missing teen. 16-year-old Jacora Raven Paldo has been reported missing since January 25th. She was last seen in the 4000 block of Victoria Avenue in College Station wearing a red or black hoodie, blue jeans, and green shoes. She is believed to still be in Brazos County, possibly in the company of a young man. If you have any information on her whereabouts, contact College Station Police at 979-764-3600 or the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-THE-LOSS. The 5G rollout means higher speeds for newer devices, but leads to problems for devices on older networks. Cell phone carriers will be phasing out 3G networks this year. AT&T plans on shutting their 3G next month, with T-Mobile and Verizon following later in the year. Tech experts say it could affect devices beyond older cell phones and devices. It could impact car navigation, home alert systems, even emergency services. If you have a 3G device, you should consider upgrading or contacting your service provider. Gas prices across the state of Texas continue to climb. The average price of a gallon of gas in Bryan and College Station is currently at $3 for a gallon of fuel, up 85 cents from 1 year ago. While Texas ranks 4th in the country for lowest fuel prices, gas and crude oil costs are likely to climb due to ongoing geopolitical tensions in Eastern Europe.
Most people are noticing that they're paying a little bit more for gas, or a lot more for gas than they were maybe a year ago. And some of that, obviously, more people are driving. Demand for gasoline has gone back up, but we also are seeing now oil prices increase because of the geopolitical situation overseas.
Coming up at 6, we'll have some tips to help drivers save money on fuel. We're just days away from the 1-year anniversary of the Texas power crisis. Since then, ERCOT has rebuilt its Board of Trustees from the ground up, and during the 87th legislative session, laws were passed to ensure this never happens again. As ERCOT's new board members work from the top down, newly appointed Vice Chair Bill Flores says their main priorities are weatherization of generation facilities, building greater reserves, and working on communication.
We're going to try to be better communicators. So one of the challenges we had before is that we had communications breakdown among some groups of stakeholders. And so ERCOT is working well with the PUC, with our policymakers in Austin, and also with our local distribution companies and our generators to make sure everybody is on the same page.
Now, this means if the power does go out, consumers will be aware and have expectations of when it should be back on. While much work has been done, Flores adds, the grid still faces challenges regarding fuel availability for natural gas-fired generators and managing solar energy resources. The last day to register to vote for the upcoming Texas primary elections is Monday, January 31st. These elections will be used to select party nominations for statewide offices in November. You can register by printing an application from the Texas Secretary of State's online voter registration page, filling it out, then mailing it to the county election office. It must be postmarked by January 31st deadline for early voting. The elections begin Monday, February 14th. The last day to apply for a ballot by mail is Friday, February 18th. Mail-in ballots must be received by March 1st if postmarked, or March 3rd if postmarked.
During the pandemic, millions of people have gotten a break on paying their federal student loans. But there's been no relief for millions of others with private student loans who may not realize bankruptcy could be an option.
For folks that have lost their jobs during the pandemic, that are struggling for money, that are just struggling to stay afloat, bankruptcy might be the best option for them, particularly if they're already going to file bankruptcy because of medical debt or credit card debt. Being able to escape these often very high interest rate private student loans is a lifesaver.
The Student Borrower Protection Center just investigated this. It estimates $50 billion in private student loans taken on by more than 2.6 million borrowers is eligible to be discharged in bankruptcy.
Our investigation turned up evidence that for years, big and small companies across the country have been telling borrowers that they're not eligible to discharge their loans in bankruptcy, while also telling their investors that the law actually says you can discharge these in bankruptcy.
Navient, a loan servicer, and a group of 39 state attorneys general recently reached a nearly $2 billion settlement around this and other things. The servicer is denying any wrongdoing. One attorney we talked with has been helping people file for bankruptcy with their student loans since 2016, but says only a small number of people are aware of this.
Normally, when we have a client come to us, they're either in default on a student loan or they're making payments and they're just not making any headway. So the people who this wouldn't be for is people who can easily afford their loans. Most of our clients cannot afford their loans. They're another mortgage payment, basically.
Her clients range from their 30s to their 60s. Most have student loans with high interest rates from the mid-2000s.
We had a client who owed around $130,000. And so when she first came to me, she was paying $1,300 a month, and it was interest only. So she realized this is a forever debt. She's not making a dent in it. It's never going away. So we reopened an older bankruptcy, and we ended up settling out for $24,000. So that was less than around 22 cents on the dollar. Her payment's very, very low.
She says one of the biggest concerns for the people she works with is how a co-borrower on the student loan will be affected. It can be worked out in the settlement that the servicer won't go after that person. The Student Borrower Protection Center is pushing for more action from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau to hold the loan industry accountable for its policies around bankruptcy rights. The agency says it is looking into this. As people get priced out of rentals, could tiny homes be the answer? Well, one man got the idea after it happened to his neighbor.
And they walked by and they said, hey, this is my situation. This is what I can afford. Can I live in your backyard? And I was like, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Ahead in our lineup, how this concept is benefiting the landowners too. Employers are spending more on pay and benefits than they have in the past 20 years. In 2021, the U.S. Employment Cost Index went up 4%. That's the quarterly measure of wages and benefits paid by employers. The last time we saw an increase this big was in 2001. And this, of course, comes as companies try and hire and retain workers while inflation rates skyrocket. Meanwhile, the gender pay gap is getting wider as workers get older. New numbers from the Census Bureau show women ages 35 to 44 got paid 30% less than men that age. That's based on data from the third quarter of 2020. Overall, women made 82 cents for every dollar that men earned. But the Bureau also found the gap is getting smaller among younger workers. Now, this comes as more women start to break into certain higher paying jobs that are typically dominated by men. The staffing issues at airports caused by COVID have only highlighted our country's need for more pilots. One flight school is hoping to help solve that. United Airlines is the only commercial airline to own a school like this. Students who graduate are given opportunities to first work with a United partner company, then work their way up to be hired as a full-time pilot with United. The airline says 80% of students are women or people of color.
We definitely need more people of color, more women in the industry.
You know, if I can do it, you can do it. You really just have to step out of there and really take a chance on your dreams.
Airlines worldwide will need at least 34,000 new pilots by 2025. That's according to the Regional Airline Association. Entry-level flying jobs require 1,500 hours of experience. And tuition at United's flight school is about $70,000.
We have seen plenty of sunshine across the Brazos Valley for today, and I think we'll see more as we make our way into the weekend as well. So it's looking really nice as we head into Saturday and Sunday, so enjoy. Clouds and radar, pretty quiet out there. No clouds in the sky right now, and not anticipating too much as we make our way through the rest of tonight going on into Saturday. Next storm system is still well off toward the west. It's going to take a couple of days to get here until Monday, so enjoy. Again, cool mornings and very nice mild afternoon. So let's check out what we're tracking for you. Not too much out there as we make our way through Saturday. You can see lots of clear sky across the region. And going into Sunday, I think it'll be sunny for most of the day. Clouds will start to increase late in the day on Sunday from the west. And then I think rain chances pick up as we move into Monday. And we could be seeing maybe a half inch to an inch of rain with some higher totals possible as we get into early next week. So that's definitely some good news around here. So tonight, temperatures will be falling into the lower 30s. It is going to be a chilly night across the area. Then tomorrow, highs into the mid 60s. Wonderful weather on the way. Again, lots of sunshine to go along with that. And checking out your forecast, we will see those temperatures again pretty nice. Approaching upper 60s near 70 on Sunday. Monday, there's your rain chance at 80%. I do think we'll see rain throughout the day, highs in the lower 60s, so mild out there, no threat of any wintry weather. 69, close to 70 on Tuesday. Going into Wednesday, I don't think a cold front arrives until late in the day on Wednesday. Then that starts to change things next week. It will get colder, but how much moisture will we have? There's still a lot of question marks on that.
The affordable housing crisis in America can be counted in the millions. According to the National Low-Income Housing Coalition, there's a need for more than 7 million affordable places for America's nearly 11 million lowest income families. Among the states with the biggest deficit of affordable housing, California, Arizona, Nevada, Colorado, Florida, and Texas. But as Maya Rodriguez tells us, one small company is hoping tiny houses can be a solution by eventually earning money for landowners.
Inside these walls,
I will say there's a ton of work happening in here, so it's crowded.
2 stories at about 200 square feet each are taking shape.
What we do is we build backyard tiny homes.
Topher Thomas is the founder of Quorum Houses.
We just focus on affordable housing.
By building tiny homes in a specific place.
Particularly in unused space like backyards.
And these tiny houses are now linking up homeowners who have backyard space with renters who need an affordable place to live.
Part of this, building in a backyard, we're already building community.
It all started when Thomas, who is a high school teacher, was building a tiny home of his own in his backyard in Durham, North Carolina. A neighbor he knew got priced out of their rental home.
And they walked by and they said, hey, this is my situation. This is what I can afford. Can I live in your backyard? And I was like, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And Quorum Houses was born. How does it work? Quorum Houses builds a tiny home. They cost about $80,000 and then helps find a tenant needing affordable housing. The homeowners get 20% of the rent. Quorum Houses gets the rest. Depending on the financing plan, after 10 to 15 years, the homeowners get full ownership of the tiny house.
Several tiny homes from Quorum Houses are already up around Durham, with 10 more in development. It's an idea that some find intriguing.
Yeah, we're actually clearing some trees in our backyard right now for this concept.
Homeowner Andy Andrews says it's a way of getting a tiny house built and play a part in making more affordable housing available.
I think it's a great complement to some of the solutions that have already been implemented. I just think they're really doing some great work for really good reasons.
This one will be done by the end of next week, and there's already a tenant who's going to be living here.
As for Quorum Homes,
I mean, the word quorum means presence. It means in the presence of.
The goal is simple.
And so my hope is that by not having to worry about whether my rent is paid, that because of that, they're able to be more present with themselves.
In Durham, North Carolina, I'm Maya Rodriguez.
Very interesting there. Thank you, Maya, for that report. Well, topping the news feed, Kia is recalling more than 410,000 vehicles in the U.S. The car maker says it needs to fix a problem that stops the airbag from inflating in a crash. The recall includes the Forte 2017 and 2018 models, along with Sedona minivans and Soul's SUV models from 2017 through 2019. A federal court has rejected a plan to lease millions of acres in the Gulf of Mexico for offshore drilling. The court decision cited the impact the lease would have on planet-warming greenhouse gas emissions, which would violate a local environmental law. The judge left the next steps up to the Interior Department. COVID-19 has now hit one of the last uninfected places in the world. The island nation of Kiribati in the Central Pacific closed its borders to keep the virus out for nearly 2 years. But now it's seeing cases after it started reopening this month, even though the people who arrived were required to be vaccinated. Political cartoons like these are part of an effort to encourage more Latinos to get vaccinated against COVID-19. It's also to fight misinformation that has been circulating in the Latino community during the pandemic. Cartoonist Lalo Acaraz is the creator of La Cucaracha, a nationally syndicated comic strip. He gave us this video of his work, and he's been focused on getting out accurate information about the pandemic around issues like social distancing and vaccines through his comic strip.
We have many weapons as cartoonists. You know, we really, it helps political messages go down easier, and also, you know, we can be more brutal than any written word.
Ideas for his editorial cartoons focus on what's in the news and hot topics. He's also part of COVIDLatino.org, a project to get messages out to Latinos, especially in the Southwest, addressing vaccine hesitancy. He believes showing the impacts on families is the strongest way to reach people.
I hope that it just makes people reflect and go like, whoa, that's just like my family. And maybe I should talk to my uncle about getting vaccinated. I think that one shook a lot of people like, hey, that's me. out in the front yard, I can't go hang out with the family.
The latest numbers from the CDC show about 20% of the Latino population have received at least one COVID vaccine dose. That's compared to 56% of the white population, but more than all other races or ethnicities. During the pandemic, helping people in need by giving to them directly has become more popular than going through a large nonprofit. Monday, how some businesses are now embracing their own form of direct giving and the impact it's having.
World News Tonight is just ahead, and we're back in 30 minutes for KRHD News at 6 o'clock. Until then, have a good evening.